There we go. Yes, May has called a snap election, so it was probably the highest probability guess, unless there was some special discovery of Trojan terrorism cell in the MI5 or something like that. It's opportunism. The opposition is an absolute rabble and in chaos. If you think about the Liberal Democrats, my first pick, but a lot of people got knives in for Corbyn. It's an opportunity for the Blairites to oust Corbyn. Corbyn is a menace because he questions a lot of the Anglo-American policy on many levels. And I actually have a bit of empathy for Corbyn, and there's a very strong Blairite cell. It'll give them more ammunition to oust Corbyn if they lose this snap election, on the basis that he's not taken Labour forward any. Not that they've allowed him to. So it'll be a chance for May to entrench herself and to say, I was an elected, mandate-provided person, especially during the period of Brexit. So I suspect that this broadly isn't good news for us. I'll tell you why. I think the outcome is pretty well established, although I expect turnout to be quite low. I think there's quite a low excitement for politics generally, and I don't think it'll be particularly compared to the referendum, which was actually exceedingly well attended. I don't think this will be nearly as well attended. I think the Tories will win it. It will give May her mandate. But I think there's a reason behind this, and I think there's a lot going down on Brexit, and a lot of decisions, a lot of compromises, and I think a very wobbly, very pro-EU Brexit agreement is probably going to be agreed. And the big defence will be by someone who was never a Brexit fan, although keeps pretending that she will execute on Brexit accordingly. Theresa May will actually see us then say, well, you know, you gave her the mandate and that's the deal she's done. So I don't actually see it as a particularly good thing. I think it's kind of like trying to tie the general population down. You've backed me, I'm now going to go and do what I'm going to do. And the problem is we don't know, in terms of the outcome of Brexit, what kind of line she's going to take. And the truth of the matter is, I want a clean cut. I don't think you have to be unnecessarily unkind. I love Europeans and I love Europe. I just hate the EU superstate structure of bureaucrats. But unfortunately it's a zero-sum game, and I think you need a quick, sharp conclusion. And yes, there's lots of details that do need to be worked out, but you can establish broad principles quite early that largely are laid down, and then you just deal with the exceptions. Anyway, so I'm not excited about this as a development for the UK. It does create a bit of more uncertainty, and in terms of forex trading, I think it's going to keep a lean on the pound. The pound was starting to get quite strong and is rather oversold. So it appears to me to once again to keep uncertainty on the pound at a period where I expect the euro to weaken. So we've got all the majors all trying to be weak, and that's leaving the dollar looking a bit like outlier strong, but they just keep turning out some pretty poor and dull non-farm numbers as well. So you're going to have the pound looking a bit once again in uncertainty period. It's a lot of navel gazing by the majors, so emerging markets might get away okay during this period in terms of their currencies and their ability to service debt, because there's no major currency that I see looking to be strong. I think the yen is going to be the standout strength potentially if there's more uncertainty and any more militarization, with possibly the dollar next. So this might just keep a lid on what was starting to look like a resurgence of the pound. Of course, it was a great excuse to spike the pound down and rally it back up on the fact that it's not overtly negative news, but indirectly I think it is for a while. And I think it's a tie-down period. It's kind of like, I've asked you, you've said yes, now I'm going to go do it, and you've got to leave me to go do it, and this is what I've decided to do, and I can't ask you on all the details all the time. You've given me a mandate, stuff you, this is the deal we've done. And that kind of power tie-down is what they're seeking here. And I'm not sure it's going to be such a walkover, but I just can't see any other parties getting in. So I think turnout will be the key, and it'll be disappointing.